In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can change the default layout of a pivot table in Microsoft Excel. In this example here, I've got a pivot table where I've got multiple fields. I've got state, city, and customer name, but they're all in one column. This makes it really difficult to analyze the data and be able to make any sense of it. And what I also want to do is remove subtotals and any other changes that you want to make. You can do those in your pivot table and then save those settings so that the next time you create them, they'll be applied by default. So I'm going to show you how we can do this. First, I'm going to show you how we can make these changes in our pivot table. So with the pivot table selected, you'll see a couple tabs: Pivot Table Analyze and Design. So on that Design tab, there's going to be an option for subtotals. So suppose I want the subtotals off, click on that, Do Not Show Subtotals, and they're gone. And what I also want to do is change the report layout. Right now, it's in a compact form. Everything's squeezed into one column. I don't want that. So I'm going to click on Report Layout and Show in Tabular Form. And now everything has its own column. Now it's nice, neatly organized. This makes it easier if I want to use a formula where I look at this pivot table, perhaps a sum ifs calculation where I want to look at this. It makes it helpful to have every field listed on every single line, which is also why I want to fix this, because here for the state, it's only showing it once and I want those values to repeat. So to do that, again, under report layout, there's an option to repeat all item labels. And now when I do that, everything is filled in. So whether it's collapsed or expanded, it doesn't matter. Everything's filled in. It's exactly how I want. So this is much more useful now for analyzing data and potentially using this in formulas. So how do you save these settings so that you don't have to repeat these steps over and over again? So if I go to the File tab, click on Options, that'll open up Excel's options. If I click on the Data section, you'll notice the first line says Make changes to the default layout of pivot tables. Click on the button that says Edit Default Layout. And so here you can see the different settings you can select for your subtotals, for grand totals, for the report layout. You can select from these drop downs how you want them to set up. Click on Repeat All Item Labels. You can go to Pivot Table Options, make whatever changes, and then save them. But there's even an easier way, and that's why I walk through those steps of how to make these changes, because I can just select any cell on the pivot table. Let's say I like this pivot table format. Just click on any cell in that pivot table and click on Import. And what it's going to do is now apply those changes that I've made so that it's going to be taking into account the changes that I've done and saving those. So I don't have to go through and manually reselect these options, or if I'm not sure the look of it when I make these changes, how that's going to look. This is why it's helpful to first go and make the changes on your pivot table to say, okay, this is what I want it to look like, and then go in here and import those changes, import those settings, and then once you're done, click on OK and it'll save. If you want to go back to the default settings, obviously you can click on Reset to Excel Default. But in this example, I want to save this, so I'm going to click OK and hit OK again. And now that's saved. So now let's test this out and see if it works. So I'm going to delete this pivot table and recreate it again. So delete this. And now if I go Insert, Pivot Table, Existing Worksheet, I'm going to put it right next here. Hit OK. And now let's start putting in the fields. So I had state, city, and I had customer, and you can see it's not putting them in that compact format anymore. It's now breaking them out exactly how I wanted. I also had category up here, and also no subtotals. So all the changes that I made and then saved, it's applied those. So I don't have to now go back and make those changes over and over again. So this should save you a lot of time, especially if you find yourself making changes to the default pivot table layout in Microsoft Excel. So hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.